Good morning. You're listening to the BLAINESWORLD show, heard each Wednesday here on WPVM 103.7 in Asheville, North Carolina. You can also listen online at WPVM.org and watch on WPVM's Facebook page. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, and I'm here in my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. And each week we focus on the Asheville theater scene, as well as on positive news and information about people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And toward that end, it's my pleasure to introduce Rock Eblen. Welcome aboard, Rock.
Welcome to you.
Okay. And Rock, what you can do is you can wave to all your fans and friends in Facebook world. So if you want to just wave to everybody.
World.
Okay, you can wave to everybody. Let's see that big wave.
Big world out there.
Okay. There you go. Rock is involved with something he started called Bioflyer Productions. It was originally created by Rock in 2004 as his personal way of contributing to his family's charity in Western North Carolina. The Eblen charity is constantly seeking viable partnerships and alliances with other organizations which help reach out to those in need. Rock has built a reputation of producing a variety of unique and exciting shows which draw upon a diverse group of local talent who volunteer long hours to create uplifting entertainment. I have to say, Rock, I think I go back to you perhaps to 2004 with Bioflyer Productions. What was the very first one?
I think our very first thing was my self-created vampire musical. Remember that Rockula, the vampire musical?
Okay, and let me ask you this question. Bioflyer's production you started in 2004, but you've been entertaining and performing as I saw off the air long before 2004. What got you into the whole entertainment thing? Like as a little kid, where'd you grow up?
Right here in South Asheville.
So you're actually one of the few who was actually born and raised in Asheville?
Born and bred.
Okay. And when did you start performing?
Oh, gosh, high school, I went to the Christ School for Boys out there. They had a little bit of theater. And then I went to the University of Miami and got bit by the theater bug more. And just kind of took off from there,
You remember the very first, like even before that, as a kid, did you perform for your parents or anything? Do you remember the very first thing you ever?
Well, I picked up the guitar. My dad brought home this funky old electric guitar when I was probably about 10, and I had no idea how to play it. I used to just bang around on it, but most of my career was early folk music and stuff. So later on, I got into the country rock and the regular rock, and I had to live up to my name, right?
What was your very first performance? Do you remember?
Music performance? Gosh, yeah. That would have been when I was doing coffee houses down at University of Miami in Florida. The old coffee house scene, back in the early 70s.
Okay. Yeah. Now it's funny. I don't know if we're going to be able to show it, but you were showing me off the air, which is really cool. You actually have a clip of one of your earlier performances.
Yeah. I was doing the University of Miami Theater Department. They did this special tribute to William Blake, and they asked me to put a bunch of his poetry to music. So maybe later on we can try to bring that up.
But was that must have been a challenge to put poetry to music? Was that the first time you'd ever done anything like that?
Well, it seemed to come natural to me because lyrics are kind of poetry, and you can't do better than William Blake.
Now, you're also among other things you do. I know you as an actor. I know you're a director. I know you're doing a whole bunch of other things, but you're also a songwriter too. How many songs have you written?
I probably got in the book somewhere close to, 100, but, a lot of those are just not recorded. They're just kind of sitting there.
Well, let me ask you, Rock, in terms of all the things you do you have a favorite thing that you do? And we should also mention, aside from all the entertaining and performing stuff, you become a farmer, I guess you would call it, or would you call yourself a farmer?
Yeah. Lately, I've been an alpaca and goat farmer. I mean, my sweetie kind of got me into that thing, and it just evolved, and I like it.
Yeah. So as a kid, you never done that before either?
We had lots of animals in South Asheville, but it wasn't a farm. It was just, some chickens and ducks, but these are pretty big animals, alpacas. You don't want to mess around with them.
So out of all the things you do you have a favorite thing you do?
Currently,
In general, you've done so
Well,
many
in
different
general,
things.
I'm real active. I love water sports and snow skiing, that kind of stuff. I'm real involved in getting out there and skiing around.
But how about with respect to performing, directing, writing? Do you have a favorite thing, or you just like doing it all?
Well, like I said, I started off in the coffee house scene, and then it evolved into more like doing electronic stuff, and then it went back to being what I'm doing now, which is acoustic stuff and going back to my roots with the banjo and the ukulele and the mandolin, that kind of stuff.
Now, you said something interesting in terms of the instruments. Most of the stuff you were self-taught?
Yeah, I'd say I was self-taught. I mean, I'd play with other musicians and they'd show me something here or there, but I never had lessons.
Yeah. How many instruments do you play?
Oh, probably 8 or 9, I guess. Got them laying around here.
Do you also play the kazoo? That's my one. I can handle the
You
kazoo.
play the kazoo, right?
Okay, well, now we'll add it to 10. But since you already have rock, since you have the guitar in front of you there, why don't you hit us up with something? Do you have something that you've written you have handy?
Yeah, I got a brand new song for you.
Okay. So wait, is this the first time it's been on Facebook Live or anywhere?
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's one of what I call my dream songs. I wake up in the morning and I've got this kind of a snippet of a song in my head, and then I'll get my little phone out and record that snippet, and then later, I'll try to make a whole song out of it.
Okay, go for it. I'm honored. We get to hear it. What's the name?
Okay. This is called Hold On. Okay, it's brand new, so I'll do my best here. There's something coming, saw it in a dream. People were running, shouting in the street. It's like a movie or just a fantasy. How can you tell whether it's reality? Hold on, don't let it slip away. I keep hoping a door will open to a brighter day. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people looking like zombies. Too many politicians building up armies. Corporation CEOs flying into space. Colonize the moon, forget the human race. Maybe I should get a job working for the mob, yeah. They seem to be in charge, all they do is lobby. I could be in Washington, gunning for the Pentagon. Get my piece of the pie before all the money's gone. Hold on, don't let it slip away. I keep hoping a door will open to a brighter day. Hey, hey, hey. Don't see why I should worry. Sky is dark, ocean is dirty. Build me a bunker down in the ground. When bombs are dropping, I won't hear a sound. Hold on, don't let it slip away. I keep open, the door will open to a brighter day. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. One more time, Blaine. Hold on, don't let it slip away. I keep hoping a door will open to a brighter day.
Good job, Rock. How'd you get the idea for that song?
That's brand new, I tell you. So it's a little rough, but you get the idea, right?
But if I held on long enough, I would. How'd you get the name? How'd you get the idea for it?
Like I said, I woke up with it. It is like this little piece. I think it was just that part, hold on part, because we're all trying to hold on, right? With all this craziness. And it just kind of occurred to me, I could voice. Also, that last song I did before this that you saw, it was the Walking Disaster.
Sure.
I said that to an old friend of mine at University of Miami, and he liked it. And he says, "Well, come on, Rock. Can you be a little more radical? Because he and I were the good old radical hippie types." And he started working at WLRN, the public radio down there, and he used to interview all kinds of famous radicals like Grace Slick and people like that. And he says, "Come on, do something a little more radical." So I came up with this song as an answer to him.
What, the one we just heard, or the other one?
Well, he heard that one, and then he wanted something more radical. So that's what this is. It's Hold On, radical.
Okay. Now, have you sent it to him yet? You sent it to him already?
Yeah, and you're the only one that's heard it.
Oh, is it? Okay, so we can send him the clip, or you can show him the show afterward. But that's pretty cool. So after you come up with the song, like, are you, in terms of songwriters, always impressed me. Do you write every day, or do you write whenever you feel the mood for it? How do you write songs?
If you're gonna be really good at it, you should write every day. I don't. I mean, I'm out there dealing with the goats and the alpaca.
Do you sing? By the way, do you sing to them?
Well, I sing to my cats. Every night I sing a lullaby to the cats and my sweetie. So we can all have a nice, calm, good night.
But the alpacas we haven't sung to yet, right?
I don't think they would really go for it, because they got these really big ears, and they might be offended.
Well, how did you, by the way, how did you and Chrislyn even get into alpacas? What brought that on?
Yeah, it was her idea, but I mean, we started out with goats, and it's a funny story because talk about Facebook. I was on Facebook, and somebody had that they were looking for a certain kind of a goat. And it turned out to be that game, that, what's it called, Farmyard or something? I thought they were really looking for their goat. I thought they lost their goat. And I said, we got to help her find a goat. And then she said, that's a game, Rock. So I said, well, let's get a goat anyway, And so we went out and, the Ag Center has those things every year, the big farm thing where everybody shows up with their animals and you can pet them and stuff. So we went out there and got us a couple.
So how many animals do you now have?
Well, we got the 5 goats and the 2 alpacas and the 3 cats. And there's a bobcat down in the woods there.
Okay. So that keeps you busy, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because, these trails, we have these beautiful trails, and there's all kinds of wild creatures down there. The only thing we don't got is a bear.
What we should say, you don't have it yet, But have you seen bears?
I think there was a sighting maybe a couple of years ago, but unlike South Asheville, where I just moved from, they've got sightings all the time out there. Strange, huh?
So take the Rock then from this, the fact that you in college and you doing some coffee house shop. What gave you the idea of starting Bioflyer Productions?
Well, I like that organic sound of it, Bioflyer.
I love it.
That doesn't really mean anything. It's just Bioflyer. It's like it's flying and it's light and it's biology and organic. But I just decided I wanted to do more theater when I moved back here from LA. I was in LA for most of the 80s. And when I got back here, I just wanted to do my own thing, write my own stuff. And that's when I did that Rock Yellow, the musical. And then I started doing the Broadway stuff, the Who's Tommy and Footloose, the musical, and Rent, the musical. And that was fun.
Yeah, well, it's just one of the things that always amazes me about you, Rock, is that you're always coming up with sort of something different, I mean, and I'm telling, like, you had, what was the couple of shows you put on there? What was it,
Pandemonium?
Yeah, you did a couple of shows at the hotel, which was just kind of...
Oh, that was the Asheville Fairy Arts Festival.
Right. What gave you the idea to do that?
Yeah, you helped me with that one time. Well, we got a lot of fairies out here at the property. It's I got fairy figurines out there, and I just think that nature spirits are real, and so that's my tribute to them as the Asheville Fairy Arts Festival. A lot of kids would come dance, their little fairy costumes, and at night we had those fancy adult fairy fashion shows. Remember that?
I do indeed. You did something also, Rock, which I'm going to invite you to start up again, and I'll even, like a jerk, volunteer to help you with it. But for a couple of years, you put on the most fantastic talent shows. Remember?
The Asheville Talent Slam.
Yeah, you did that for several years, right?
Yeah, 3 of them.
Yeah. What gave you the idea to do that?
Well, that kind of that wasn't really an original idea. I was just trying to do a combination of poetry slam, with other things like music and songs and dance, and so it was a little bit of everything.
But that was just great. And boy, did you get a lot of good talent to that. And plus,
Oh, Asheville full of talent for
yeah.
sure.
And to your credit, also, you actually gave prizes, and they weren't, insignificant prizes. They were cash prizes. And I
Yeah,
know that
yeah. I think the top prize was like $500, wasn't
it
it?
was. It several times did it. And I encouraged one person who won it. Sarah Richardson won it
Yeah.
one year, and she's on a walk. She just came by, and she was great. So that was just a fantastic thing. And like you said, you did. I think I saw most of them. You did several shows you put on from scratch. Do you see yourself doing that again?
Well, since I moved out here in Marshall, I went downtown last weekend, and it's like a whole different town. I mean, it's like a New York or something. There's so many people, so many tourists down there, and I'm just looking around and I'm seeing all these hotels and these fancy restaurants and people pointing this way and pointing that way, and it's kind of unfamiliar ground to me now. Like I said, I've become more of a farmer.
No, because what's always I impressed by you is that you would put on these shows, but you do them from scratch. So you would come with the show, you cast them, you direct them, you sometimes acted in them. That was a big job on your part, wasn't it?
No kidding, I must have been crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But they all hit
producing it, directing it, acting in it, and wearing all the other hats, like designing the sets, the costume stuff. I don't know what I thought I was doing, but I just loved it.
Well, and one of the first ones I saw, help me with the name again. You did Masonic Temple, and that was one you did from scratch. What was that again?
Oh yeah, that was Spring Awakening.
Yeah. Oh boy, I love that. And you were the first one to do it in the area.
Yeah. Well, we were the first ones to do Rent too.
Were you too? Yeah, but just really good stuff. And I know you were in it. Did you also do Footloose from scratch?
Let's see. Footloose was no, that was a Broadway show that we just adapted.
Okay. No, but did you put it on, or was that ACT?
No, that was me.
Yeah, you were you were the minister in that, right?
Yeah, there was I was the preacher. Right. Diana Wortham Theater, I mean, we were putting them in there.
I was going to say that, not little small theaters. You did that at Diana Wortham, and that one just knocked my socks off. I said, and you did that from scratch, right? You came up with the idea and then put it on the show.
Yeah, the Masonic people weren't that crazy about it because it's like they didn't do theater over there.
Right, exactly. Well, then how about another thing I always get a kick out of is seeing you perform. And I haven't seen you lately, obviously, pandemic. But do you like performing?
Yeah, it's in the blood. It's hard to get rid of it. It's like once you start to get that feedback from other people liking your stuff, it's like you're a kid again.
Well, I had a cameo and I thought you were great in Young Frankenstein. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah. That was ACT.
Right. That was so much fun, though. But
you're in there with us, right?
Yeah, but I just love seeing you perform because whatever you do, you seem to really get into the character. You no, you really do. What was your role in that one?
I was the guy with the false arm. Can't remember his name.
I love it though.
The mechanical arm.
Yeah, and you hit it. But every time I'd crack up whenever you came on, and you looked like you had fun with it. Did you? It
was very fun. That was a great cast. Even more fun was the Spam-A-Lot.
Yeah, I wasn't in that, but that was a great show. So I missed. Right? Yeah, sure. I miss seeing you perform. Do you see yourself performing again in the future? Did you see yourself?
Well, it's possible. Right now, it's like I've just sort of retired in a way, because it's so quiet. I think a lot of people experience that once they got away from the regular job and the rushing around, they just experienced that sort of calm quiet of the countryside, at least where I am. And it's hard to leave that behind, once you've really got it in your bones.
And not have to come downtown 5 nights a week and, and be in a show for 3 weeks. Very time consuming.
That last weekend was the first time I've been downtown in more than a month.
Out of all the stuff you've done, do you have a favorite production you put on?
I think probably the Pizza Pandemonium was a fun. because we had the fashion show,
I remember that.
we had really good local bands, and we had the pizza and the beer. I mean, you can't beat that.
So what do? You stay up late at night thinking of these kinds of things you can put on as a production?
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. No, but I'm saying, oh, I have to encourage you to get back into this because it was so much fun. And what's fun about it, Rock, is it always be something a little bit different, that you do this thing and then you come up with another idea and I say, wow, that's kind of a cool idea. It was fun to watch you in action, so.
I like that variety and I appreciate you saying that.
Oh, no, I'm thinking out loud. So Bioflyer Productions, and I'd say it certainly saw a lot, if not most, you've done over the years, what, at least 10 productions, or would you say more?
Yeah, probably around that.
In terms of back to performing, so you played one original, good job. You have another song for us?
Yeah, let's see. What do we got here? You want to hear a little banjo?
I love it too. One of your 9 instruments.
I'm gonna pull out the banjo because this is my roots here. This is the banjo my dad got me when I was like 16 or something.
Very cool.
And I learned to play that old style that they call it claw hammer, because when you're playing it, you're doing it like a claw, And I used to go to those square dances and stuff. So I'm gonna play you blackberry picking time. You ready?
Go for it.
It's a good time to go blackberry picking. See those kids are picking in blackberries.
Same thing too. So you just learned that on your own?
What's that?
You just learned that on your own, how to play the banjo?
Yeah, back when I was a teenager.
Yeah. Because when you think about it now, people tell me they learn to play different instruments through YouTube. But when you learned it, there was no YouTube.
No, man, we didn't have anything but You Do It, not YouTube.
that can be the next Eblen project. You Do It. Yeah. Eblen, no, I love it. You Do It station. But do you see yourself? So now you say you're taking it easy. Do you see yourself anything down the road as to what you're going to be doing from a Bioflyer production standpoint?
I'm near Sart. The
right.
Southern Appalachian, just right over there in Mars Hill. They're only about 20 minutes from me.
Yeah.
Asheville's more like 40 minutes. So I'm thinking I might join Chelsea and the gang and do something.
And please do, because to Chelsea's credit, and we'll give a shout out to her, she's really turned around Salt. I don't know if you've seen anything up there, but they've really done some excellent productions, over the last couple of years. And yeah, that'd be a great venue for you. They also have, Rock, you might be interested. They have the regular theater, but they also have a little black box theater. So if what you had wasn't
That new theater's really nice.
Well, the theater is, but have you seen also right next to it, the Black Box Theater?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it'd be a great venue. You want a smaller group. But yeah, I'd love to see you at SAWT, and like I said, they've just done great things lately.
I did that little black box over at ACT, like next to normal.
Right. I'm trying to think what was that next to normal? I know
35 below.
Right. And were you in it?
It's about the lady that she had the mental disorder. Next to normal was a Broadway show.
I do remember it. Yeah. Well, again, I remember it because if you were in it, I was probably going to see it, So, no, you laugh, but at all the stuff you've been in, I think I've seen just about most of it, if not all of it. That's why I'm trying to psych you back in to get back on the stage or performing, because you really do it well. It's just back to the 2 shows you mentioned. What was always fun about it is to watch the joy you seem to have out of it. Like I remember we were talking before Spamalot. What was the show again? We just talked about it. That I was Frankenstein. Yeah, that was for me. I'm not an actor, so I get nervous and kind of apprehensive about it. And to watch you, you just get so pumped up, when you're going to be on stage. You seem to have a lot of fun with it.
Well, that's got to be part of it because it's a lot of work, I
was going to say that.
People think that actors are just kind of like, having fun all the time. But to get that 1 hour of fun on the stage, you're working like, you did it. You know what I mean? 40 hours.
Well, you say that. It's funny, Rocky mentioned, I was just talking to Cynthia, my beautiful bride, tonight about the fact that the beauty of SAWT is they put stuff on like in a week or two, and it runs the run. ACT, it takes, 6 weeks of rehearsals and practice. So I could see you being at SAWT again. You don't have as long a time commitment. I think it's really good.
Well, of course, SART is professional, so they have to get together in 2 weeks. But
I think maybe two weeks or a week. Yeah. It's just amazing. But they do it, so you don't have a 6-week rehearsal time. But you raised another good point, Rock, and to your credit, I think you try to promote it, the idea. But yeah, if you're a performer, hey, it's not so bad if you get paid to do it. You put all that time. So I don't know about you, but I personally like seeing entertainers get paid. It's just kind of, I think they deserve it.
Well, a lot of the local theaters are doing that now. Like Hart pays people.
I think it's great what they do. Yeah, they sometimes they'll say it's a stipend or mileage, call it what you want, but at least you get something. Right. SAWT, when I was involved, they always paid people something, whatever it was. But I give them a lot of credit. Just like you, in terms of being an alpaca farmer, you get all that money you make from being a farmer. From the I'm
afraid we don't make much money with alpacas. I do sell their poo though. If you want really good fertilizer.
Do you really? You actually get to sell it? What
it's about the best fertilizer there is?
And what also, aside from the poo, do you also sell? Well, they have their
fleece.
Yeah, do you sell that?
Yeah, Crystalline takes their fleece because you have to fleece them every spring. It get too hot in the summer, so you get all that fleece off there, and she makes really beautiful scarves and hats and you name it.
The amazing thing, not amazing thing, the thing I give you a lot of credit for too, Rock, is for performer. It's one thing you get feedback and whatnot, but with animals, you got to take care of them 365 days a year. 24/7. They take a lot of work.
I found that out.
Do they require a lot of work?
Well, if you love them, it's like you don't really see it as work. I mean, I go out there sometimes and just hang out with them because they're very calming. When the world's going crazy, you go out there and hang around with the goats dancing around in the pasture there, and they'll cheer you up.
Well, that's another project for you too. Some people have done it already. To have goat yoga? You can invite people out.
Goat yoga. Place. Yeah, we haven't done that, but we do like alpaca walks and stuff.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, I give you my website and there's all that kind of stuff, Well,
I was going to ask you because, again, an amazing story you have to share with folks. So folks do want to get in touch with you, Rock, either for your performing stuff or also your farming stuff. What's the best way to reach you?
Bioflyer.wordpress.com.
Okay, Bioflyer, and that's BIOFLYER.
One word, Bioflyer.
Bioflyer.wordpress.com.
That's
all the information about you. You're also on Facebook too, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And so if you want to get in touch with Rock, if you want to find out about, so back to the farm, and I know I have an invite out there, I will take you up on it. Can people come see you at the farm?
Sure. I mean, that's half the fun. It's like we got these tiny houses out here, the Airbnb and all that.
Oh, do you too?
We get tons of folks coming out. Then we got 16 acres to hike around the trails and all that.
But we should warn people, though, if they come out, you're going to put them to work?
Well, yeah, they got to shovel
the food. You have to see what it's really involved like. Anyway, Rock, pleasure to see you, at least from afar. I haven't seen you in person too long a time. Hope to see you back performing, doing something, or one last thing I think I've shared with you off the air is that if you ever want to do kind of a mini concert of your music, love to have you on the air again. Okay, so keep that in mind. When you're ready to put together 4, 5, 6 songs, love to have you back. Okay.
This was really fun, Blaine. Thanks for having me.
Well, Rock, too long to have seen you. Best to Crystalline, and we'll hopefully see you in the next couple of years. Okay, buddy?
Adios.
Okay, thanks, Rock. Okay, I have Rock disappear if it works out well, and Rock is disappearing. And we're going to bring in our other guest, and I'm impressed, Jay. Hey, Jay. And as Jay gets on board, as my other guest gets on board, let me just make a quick announcement. I'd like to tell folks that WPVM's mission, the show you're watching now, is to foster community through programming that cultivates dialogues to inform and entertain. The station provides the medium for artists, businesses, community leaders, and nonprofits to share their voice on live radio and also on Facebook Live. Listeners are invited to help support WPVM's efforts by making a tax-deductible contribution. You can do so by going to the website, WPVMFM.org, and looking at the donate option in the upper right-hand side. It's next my pleasure to introduce my second guest of the show today, and they are Jay Hill and Sarah Darro. And welcome aboard, guys. And Jay already got it. Sarah, you have to do that too. You have to
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having us, Blaine.
You have to wave to your fans and friends in the Facebook world. Okay, and this I'm really excited, Jay, because it's the first time I understand you've been on Facebook Live, and first time Sarah's been on Facebook Live, and you guys are looking good. I should mention that Jay is a software developer in his spare time. No, we'll say that's Jay's main gig. He's also Chief Technology Officer at SAP News. He is an organizer for PechaKucha. Am I getting closer to it?
Getting there, yeah.
Let me hear your pronunciation.
I say PechaKucha.
PechaKucha. Okay, and what are your? I like what your boys tell you. What do they say? They say Gesundheit.
Yeah, once in a while, someone will say PechaKucha, and someone will say "Bless you, Gesundheit."
Okay, Jay also is involved with the Asheville Coders League. He enjoys roller skating, trail running, and being a father to and dad to many. I like a dad to many. What I like that. What do you say you're dad to many?
I find myself falling into a default dad role, and probably best illustrated by a time I was out with coworkers, some older than me, some younger than me, and we were out to eat dinner. And at the end of the meal, the server set the bill down squarely in front of me on no basis other than exuding dad energy.
Okay, that's an honor. Sarah Darro is a curator and writer working nexus of contemporary art, craft, and design. She is gallery manager at the Center for Craft, has invested in invigorating museum spaces as forms for discourse, innovation, action, and engagement through experience. She was named the 2019 American Craft Council Emerging Voices Award Scholar, very nice, 2022 Gentle Critic at the Archie Bray Foundation, and also a whole bunch of other things we can talk some other time about, but welcome aboard, Sarah.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
And thanks for coming on board. And what I really asked you to come on board is to talk about this kind of neat collaboration you have with Jay. And so I want to go back to Jay initially and talk about the organization, Jay, and then we'll kind of tie it into how we hooked in with Sarah's group, and I'll turn it back to you, Sarah. So, Jay, talk about the group. Did you form it in Asheville, or had it already been formed?
There was a group that had put on some PechaKucha Night events before I got it started with a group of my co-organizers. And they'd done, I think, 6 events, and then some people moved away, and it kind of fell by the wayside. I've attended PechaKucha Night events in other cities, and was looking forward to attending them in Asheville. But as years went by and nothing happened, I realized that someone needed to get them going. And so I found some of the people who had been doing it before and found some new people, and we got together and started making them happen again.
For the benefit of the people who don't know what this night is, which I remember the first time I had never heard of it, and I kind of learned about it pretty quickly. What is it?
Sure. So a PechaKucha Night event, and our Asheville chapter is one of about 1,200 around the world. And so a PechaKucha Night is a series of presentations, but all the presentations follow the same fixed format. And that's 20 images shown for 20 seconds each. So you prepare your images, and they advance automatically every 20 seconds. You don't get to click through. And every presentation then is 400 seconds or 6 minutes, 40 seconds. So at this point, tens of thousands of people have done these around the world, and they've all followed that same format.
And they've all survived the experience, including yours truly.
Everyone has come out stronger for the experience.
Yeah. Have you ever done one yourself?
I've done several.
Have you?
I've done some here in town. One of which was a day of presentation that I put together because one of our presenters had gotten sick the night before and wasn't going to be able to participate. And in 2018, I had the honor of presenting one in Tokyo, where PechaKucha was founded globally. There was a gathering of organizers from around the world, and I was fortunate enough to be able to attend. And I brought my son along, and I got to give a presentation, kind of in part about Asheville while I was there.
But again, same thing, 20 seconds, 20 slides?
That's right, yep.
Okay, very cool. And one other thing too, I remember a couple I attended, kind of a fun part of it also, you have the presentations, but where you break it up in Asheville, is that just in Asheville, or do they do that throughout the country, where you have that other thing where you call somebody up and they just do it for a minute? Or describe what that is.
Yeah, so we call it battle decks. In other cities, they do something similar, and they might call it PK Mix. And essentially, it's a improv exercise where we've prepared 5 random images that relate to each other in no obvious way. The funnier, the better. And a volunteer comes up, and they get to see those 5 slides, 20 seconds each, and they have to give an impromptu presentation to those slides as though they had prepared it. And so sometimes it's it's always a good time for everyone, at least for the people who are getting to watch it. And so sometimes we do it where it's those 5 slides. Sometimes we prepare a full 20 slides and have 4 people come through and hand the mic off, so they have to continue the presentation from the person before them. So that's a little way to break up the evening and have a little fun with the format.
It's quite a challenge, I would imagine, for the people doing it if they've never done it before.
And for the people who volunteer and come up, they receive a free ticket to the next event. So that's the incentive beyond just the adventure of it. Would
that be a good thing to do before you actually did a talk? Would that be a good way to prepare for a talk?
It wouldn't hurt just to get a feel for the experience, but the preparation is rather different. One of the beautiful things about the PechaKucha format, it sounds very simple, but it's pretty powerful, of doing this 20 images, 20 seconds, is that it forces you as a presenter to be well prepared. And since it is such a short talk, you can rehearse it quite a few times. You could rehearse it quite a few times in just an hour, really. And so people do tend to go through it quite a few times and be really prepared. And in my experience, when I've done them, I never say it, I never go through my presentation the same way twice. So I don't really know what's going to come out when I'm on stage in the spotlight. But by that point, I've rehearsed enough that I feel confident and I can recover from anything. And I just know the material forward and backward.
And for anybody listening, I'd like to give you, Jay, a compliment, because I know you helped me and helped lots of other people as your role as dad, if you will, but also that if you volunteer to do one of these, you're not thrown into the wolves, because you guys actually helped us. And talk a little bit about that process, that you volunteer to do a talk. And I really liked how you did it. You didn't just come to one meeting and then do the next meeting. It was a whole process. And I was so impressed with that. Describe the process as to if somebody's interested to do a talk. What happens?
Sure, yeah. And I can't take much credit for it. I've got great co-organizers who help throughout this process, but we do a series of rehearsals. We call them rehearsals, but we hold that term lightly, because often at the first one, people come with only an amorphous idea of what they know what they're gonna talk about, but have no images, or they've found this stack of interesting photos in their grandmother's underwear drawer and they want to talk about them, but they don't know what to say. And so we collaborate, both the organizers and the fellow participants, during the rehearsal process, coming up with ideas for how to structure, possibly design for slides or changes or additions, taking things away. We encourage folks to take all the text, as much text as possible, off their slides. We focus on images because text competes with what you're saying, and it's only up there for 20 seconds. So we go through this process, we do collaborative feedback, and put that in a shared document where folks can go back home from the rehearsal when they were in person. We're doing them on Zoom now, but they can take that collaborative feedback, work on their presentation, bring it back and do another round. And one of the things that I enjoy most as an organizer really is seeing the magic that sometimes happens between our last rehearsal and the night of the event. Because people will go back and they are doing a lot more rehearsal and they come up with new ideas. And on the night of the event, it's almost as new to me as it is to the audience sometimes, just seeing what people have done in those last few days before the event. So it's fun.
And remember, you did one other thing too that really helped me get involved, is before I even committed to it, you had a workshop, I guess, or just over drinks. You invited people to come in, just talk about the concept, before we even committed to doing it. That was very helpful because I met you, I met some of the other people in the organization. Mm-hmm. I got kind of a behind the scenes look at what I was going to be doing. So whatever you're doing, just keep it up. And I'll use that, Jay, to segue a little bit into Sarah's role in this organization, that you were telling me off the air, you've now moved from general shows, which you still do, but now you were telling me some focused kinds of shows. And describe what that is.
Yeah, so we've done some themed nights in the past, and once in a while there'll be global themed nights, so we'll participate with that. We did one called Design in Your City, but we've also been developing relationships with other organizations around town and working with them to co-curate events. So when we started taking our events online, live streaming them last year, our very first live streamed events was a collaboration with the Collider. So that focused on climate justice. We did a collaboration with AIGA Asheville, the local design organization. We did one with the Ade Project, and that was fully curated by Cortina Janelle Caldwell, and we just provided the platform and the technical support for it. And so our upcoming event, which is going to be our return to in-person, is very exciting to me, and a relationship that I've been working on developing for quite a while, and that's with the Center for Craft in downtown Asheville, but a national organization that's really at the forefront of craft. So being able to bring in speakers that I don't know, that I'll probably never meet, but bringing in some expertise, people who are in that world and can really showcase craft to the PechaKucha audience.
And for the benefit, Sarah, if people don't know Center for Craft, it's kind of one of the hidden surprises or delights in Asheville, certainly. What is the Center for Craft?
So we are a national nonprofit. We're headquartered here in downtown Asheville, but we are really a national and international nonprofit organization committed to building and advancing the future of craft. And this is our 25th anniversary this year. And we're not only a rotating gallery space, but we're also a really robust think tank and resource for makers and scholars in the field. So we award over $300,000 in grants every year to makers and scholars across the country. And we have a really cutting edge lineup of exhibitions every year, which are free and open to the public.
And you're located where?
We're located at 67 Broadway Street in downtown Asheville.
Okay. And that's a space that people can just come to anytime they want, or when you're open, of course. Yeah,
it's free. We have a big, beautiful building, handmade, brick building with these big windows. It used to be Lark Publishing, and we came into the building just a couple of years ago and did a massive renovation.
So talk about how you then got involved in this project working with Jay. So you're relatively new to this organization. I think you told me you've only been there 3 months now?
Yeah. So okay. I'm the gallery manager here. So I work with artists and help build the exhibition programming. And we were really excited to work with PechaKucha because it's a format that's so invested in storytelling and convening people. So it's about community, it's about bringing people together, it's about learning. And I think it's kind of a match made in heaven for craft, which is, that's a really foundational to what this field is about.
Now, had you ever heard of this before?
I have. I actually did a PechaKucha presentation at the Ashmolean Art Museum, which is in Oxford, England. So it really is an international format.
Okay. And yours, what was the talk on?
It was about the agency of objects in museums. So how objects influence us and, how they kind of have this power over our social lives.
So unfortunately, people coming to the upcoming event won't get to hear that talk though, because you're too busy doing 27 other things that day. But talk about what will be happening and when it's going to be happening, Sarah.
So on August 11th, we are doing PechaKucha Volume 29, and it's the craft edition. So we're going to have 9 speakers from various, really interesting and diverse backgrounds, speaking about material knowledge and significant objects and creative practice, all kind of centered on craft. This is going to be taking place at an outdoor venue in downtown Asheville called Rabbit Rabbit. It's on Cox Avenue, and we're really looking forward. This is going to be a really exciting event, and we have a great lineup of speakers.
Now, how do you choose the lineup of speakers, or how do you get them?
Yeah, this has been a really wonderful project for me to kind of get to know the craft community here. I've kind of used this as an excuse to meet every cool craft person in town and get them involved. So we have everyone from critical craft scholars who are coming out of the Warren Wilson program to a chef and founder of a really wonderful Filipino restaurant. We have a native plant landscape architect. We have 2 really radical blacksmiths. We have some jewelers.
Hold on a second. I love that description. So radical. I didn't know, Jay, there was such a thing as a radical. What's a radical blacksmith as opposed to a traditional blacksmith? I love that.
Well, I think that these blacksmiths are radical because they're building a really inclusive and intersectional blacksmithing community. So they're really opening it up. It was traditionally a male-dominated field, and they're just, opening it up to so many different people. They're doing community projects. They are doing tool repair workshops. So, they're just doing really incredible work. And I think that they're doing radical community work, but also radical craft practice.
Now, did people have to audition for this, or did you have more than 9 people come forward?
There are so many people that we spoke with about this, and it isn't an interview process. This is really a curated selection of folks. So we reached out to people and, got a lot of, community buy-in to people recommending folks. So, yeah. And we have a really nice span, I think, of this region, not only Asheville residents, but people up at Penland School of Craft, and other Western North Carolina.
What I love about it, in fact, that you're involved in this, is what a great opportunity to showcase crafts folks, in sort of an atypical kind of way that, Jay, I guess the first time it's ever been done, at least with the crafts area.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you've had, I guess, maybe some crafts type people, but the first time we ever done it with the whole craft show. So it's very exciting that these people are going to get a chance to show their stuff, I guess, and to have people find out more about them.
Yeah, I think something that's also really, unique is that most people, when they think about craft, they're thinking about objects and they're not really thinking about the people necessarily. So this is really people-centric. This is where we're going to learn about what drives them, what brought them to this field, how they've honed all of this really specialized material knowledge. And, we're going to get to see a different side of craft.
What I love about it too, Sarah, is the fact that a lot of craftspeople, at least that I know of, don't like telling their own story, and I have a line I share with some theater folks that it's from a guy named one-minute manager, Ken Blanchard. And he said, if you don't toot your own horn, somebody else will use it as a spittoon, And one of the things I would imagine that a lot of craftspeople have that kind of attitude, that they don't want, that they love having their stuff seen, but they don't want to talk about it. They just want people to come to the center of craft. So this is kind of a unique opportunity for people to show their stuff, but also talk about what they do.
Yeah.
Is that something you would say that happens, that craftspeople don't necessarily get out and spread the word about the good stuff they do?
Yeah. And, I think that's like, that might be a creative person or somebody who like an artist who primarily makes like creative output and, works of art. I think that they tend to let the final pieces speak for themselves, or, the show speaks for itself, the work will speak for itself. And I think calling on artists to talk about their process, talk about what's behind the work, what's driving them to make, all of those things are sides of the story we don't usually hear.
No, I'm thinking the same exact thing. I'm also thinking, and Jay's probably thinking the same thing too. It seems like there are a lot of stories to be told. So this probably be like a volume 1, Jay, but this definitely seems like something with so many craftspeople out there that could be done a second time or a yearly basis, something like that. How many people are affiliated with the center?
So we have, an intimate staff. I think we have like about 10-ish people, but we work with people all across the country. We just hosted a virtual symposium that was national and international. We had folks tuning in from everywhere. So we really are, the foundation of our mission is, building these partnerships and working with other people in the field. So a lot of people involved.
How was it for you for your first 3 months? You were doing this all virtually, for the most part. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden, you're going to actually see some of these people and meet some of these people. How's that been for you? I'm
so excited to begin the rehearsal process and to meet everybody in person on August 11th. It's been interesting moving to a new place and not knowing anyone and starting in this kind of, post-COVID world. It's been really, it's been difficult, but it's also been, I think this has opened me up to so many more people than I could possibly have met before COVID. I can Zoom with someone in Indonesia. I can, people have been tuning into our events from all over the world.
And Jay, I'll ask you the same question in terms of your whole mode of operation. For you've been doing it so many years one way, and all of a sudden, to your credit, you continue doing this. Is that correct? During Zoom, during pandemic?
Yeah, we've done live streamed events, some of which had our presenters all remote, and one of which we had presenters on site, but the audience was remote.
And how'd that go?
I think it went well. It was a lot of work preparing the technical aspects of it, making sure that the audio gets routed to the right places and people know when the microphone is on and off. But that was, with the technical parts aside, it was very gratifying to be able to have people continue to share their stories through PechaKucha and continue to stay connected with our audience. And we would have 150, 200 people viewing those events. So that was gratifying to be able to continue in spite of the pandemic. And I'm at the same time very excited to go back, that we have an avenue to go back to in person, with credit to Sarah for securing a nice big outdoor venue where we can do that, where they have a really bright LED screen. We don't have to wait for dark for projection, and I think we're positioned for a great event.
Would you ever consider doing a virtual event again?
I would consider doing hybrid events,
okay,
where it's live and you can buy a ticket and attend in person, or maybe and that we could live stream it at the same time.
Because I was just thinking, I encourage you to do the same thing too, because some of the concert venues are doing that, which I love. So if I can't get to a downtown show or don't want to come down to it, I've been able to watch the shows and I've enjoyed them, almost just as much. So I encourage you to do that too. That'd be great to screen it, to do it by streaming. The other advantage I see for you, Jay, and Sarah as well, is that then you're not located just Asheville based. I mean, Sarah, so your center services people, you were saying, all across the country?
Yeah. And I think, this time that, this past year has really shown us that virtual programming is, we're able to tap into a much broader audience. So that's, a really wonderful pro that we'll probably continue to, do moving forward, even after the pandemic. But there is just something about in-person events that you can't recreate virtually. So I think, moving forward, hybrid events is great. You get the benefits of a massive audience who can tune in from anywhere. And then you can also, really build that community and have these great convenings of, creatives. And that's, what's so foundational about this format.
And what Jay mentioned also, I think is in line with what you just said, Sarah, and talk a little bit about that as well, Jay. But the beauty of going to an event is also all the networking takes place. And Sarah, you haven't seen it in Asheville, but you go to one of Jay's events, and it's really kind of a cool event. The excitement level, Jay, I find leading up to just the beginning beforehand, everybody saying hello and greeting everybody, and very exciting throughout the night. And then afterward, talk about that process, Jay. What happens?
Yeah, it feels so long and far ago now. Remembering our events in what is typically Scandal's nightclub, it's a tight space for 200 people, so it's a lot of up close and personal chit chat that I think we're a long way off from returning to that. But it is. You mentioned before the event that you had come to before you committed, where we introduced the format, and we called those events chit chat because PechaKucha in Japanese means chatter or chit chat. So at our events, we also do an extended intermission where folks can get a drink, but mingle and talk with the presenters from the first portion of the evening. And a lot of connections are made during that time because people will hear someone speak that they'd not met before, but there's really a connection with what they're talking about. And then, of course, at the end of the evening, there's another opportunity to connect with folks from the second half or to continue a conversation from that extended intermission.
Do you say when you resume live events, will you be having them at a specific location, or do you know that location yet?
Right now, I feel good about this outdoor space at Rabbit Rabbit, and we haven't made plans for our next event in terms of location and date, but we'll be exploring outdoor options, I think, for the immediate future anyway. Okay,
interesting. Talk a little bit about both your organizations. If people want to find out more, either about the upcoming event or becoming a presenter, what's the best bet, Jay?
Yeah, so we have a website there's a global website, PechaKucha.org, but we have a local website also, PechaKuchaAVL.org.
Okay, now I have to wait.
You might not know how to spell it.
Ever so slowly, if you would, please.
But here's what you do. Here's the cheat: is you go to Google and you type in PKN for PechaKucha Night. So just PKN and then Asheville, and you'll find it. Okay, so you can find out about the upcoming show and about the organization as well. Yep. So same thing too, about if people want to find out more about the center, what it does, and aside from this upcoming event, best bet is to do what?
Yeah, to connect with us and follow our projects, you can go to centerforcraft.org, which is centerforcraft.org. And you can also follow us at the handle @centerforcraft on social media. Okay, in the remaining time, we talked a little bit about Jay with some things coming up. They can go to the website. Sarah, aside from this upcoming event, is there anything else coming up that you want folks to know about? Oh yeah, we have a lot of really wonderful programming coming up this fall. We have some speaking events. We have a crafting foodscapes event with Asian American and Pacific Islander community. That'll be on Zoom, so you can log in from anywhere. We're piloting some new making events. So, log in, sign up for our e-news, and you'll be able to get the full schedule. Okay. And in terms of the facility itself, and I have to admit, I haven't actually been to the facility itself. It's located where? And then talk about hours and what people do when they go there. Yeah, so we're located at 67 Broadway Street in downtown Asheville. We are open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's free admission. We have 2 really wonderful exhibition spaces with exhibitions from Warren Wilson College and then from one of our grant recipients on view right now. We also have a co-working space upstairs where, creative entrepreneurs and businesses are located. And we have a library with scholarly publications we've underwritten. There's a lot to see and to learn about craft, which is a fascinating and really interdisciplinary subject.
Okay. I'd like to thank you very much, Sarah. First of all, first time meeting you, coming on board, Jay Hill, and also my guest the first half hour, Rock Eblen. I'd like to thank my producer as well, Amy Prisnash. And I look forward to having you join me next Wednesday here at 9 a.m. here on WPVM 103.7. In Asheville, you can also listen online at WPVMFM.org and watch on WPVM's Facebook page. If you guys would just stay with me, I'm going to go off the air, say thank you, but stay with me as I go off the air. Thanks, guys.